This is the Original Sin, the Collective Intelligence Network.
Hello sinners, my Collective Intelligence Network nodes and agents. Today I'd like to talk to you about an idea that I've evolved in terms of a spit, solving problems with individual thought. And this came about as a direct lived experience. So I actually saw something which I thought, gee, we could probably do something about that, do something a little bit different. And so I will lead you down this path of my insight. So I had an experience where I had to go into the hospital, and while I was in the hospital I noticed a gentleman across diagonally from me who was walking with something, I believe it's called an ICD bag, internal catheter device, which is basically a urine bag. And so I saw this particular person carrying what I believe is a 1 litre capacity bag, and he was holding that dressed in the hospital gown, as it were, and had a nurse assisting, so holding under one arm so that he could actually walk with this and go for a bit of a walk down the corridor and that sort of thing. I saw this and I thought, gee, there's potentially a better way to do that. And so what I thought of was that you have the gowns which we use in hospitals, and over time obviously they wear out, and then I guess they're thrown away or they're burnt, or I'm not exactly sure what they do. I imagine they're laundered quite often, but then it comes to a point in time where they're beyond their use by date. So at that point I thought what you could do is you could actually cut strips in the material, and then in a new gown you could tie or have stitched into it. And a lot of hospitals, I believe, have volunteers who like to sew things or knit things, whatever the case may be. So this would be an exact opportunity for them to be able to employ those skill sets. And so with the cloths all taken from the old gowns they're going to be throwing away, then you could stitch together 2 rings on either side of the inside of the gown. Now, with those 2 rings in place on the inside of the gown, what you could then do is have 2 smaller bags, ICDs, which I believe are 500 ml capacity, and you can have them suspended from each of the hoops on the inside of the gown, like a pistol holder, pardon the pun. And then I thought in that way, you've got a few different things which are going to happen. So now the person who has got the gown on with the 2 bags internally suspended on the 2 rings that have been stitched into the gown, the hospital gown, then they now have both hands free, so there's less trip hazard. Potentially also now they don't need to tie up a staff member to be sort of helping them and by holding them under one arm for extra security, because remember before they were holding the bag with one hand, they only had one other hand to break their fall if they tripped, which is sort of why the nurse is there. But with this scenario, they'd actually have both their hands free, potentially freeing up the resource of the staff member to be able to go and attend to other patients. And also what it would do is allow for the person who has got the hidden, I suppose, hidden ICDs on, which is containing urine, that I know a lot of times in hospitals the embarrassment factor sort of goes out the window. However, there still is some sort of level of embarrassment, I guess, walking around holding this bag. By having them hidden underneath the gown that you're wearing, then potentially this would encourage people to be more involved in recuperation in terms of going for walks up and down the corridor and those sorts of things. So that's a domino effect of people potentially recovering quicker, being more able to get over the ailment that they have, and also free up a staff member for more time. So that is my spit, solving problems with individual thought. I'd love to hear what your spats are, solve the problems altogether. What do you think about what I've just posited? What do you think we can do to make that more of a reality? I did mention it to hospital staff, I mentioned it to doctors, and they said, look, we're in a public hospital system, you're better to take that to the private area and try and commercialize it. So I did ask them, how does innovation work within the hospital? Where do good ideas go? How do you make things better, improve what we're doing, and those sorts of things? So I think this is where the Collective Intelligence Network and the collection of all our network nodes and agents, our sinners, can help with these sorts of concepts and ideas and refine them and then get them incorporated into our public health institutions so that we're actually working smarter and doing things in a better way, in a more intelligent way that's actually got much better outcomes for everybody. So please put your own spits solving the problem with individual thought around what I've just posited, and let's see what's spat back. We'll solve the problem all together once we get enough contributions. We'll then lean in onto our saints to see what it comes up with, our suggested artificial intelligence network thoughts. And I've also got a website now, Unification, UNIFAICATION.com. And that's a combination of the word unity and fair and unification. And also embedded in there as well is something called unfair, which is the opposite of what we're trying to do. We're trying here at the Collective Intelligence Network to try and raise the standards between the third world and the first world, and also for us all to work on problems, whether they're big global ones or ones that are close to where you are residing. And so we're working on an app, and by we I mean me and AI at the moment. I'm leaning heavily on that, and I'm in the process of having a scientific paper written on this whole concept, which will be published very soon. So on that note, I'll see you all in the next one. Take care. Bye now.